Shout out to Verse Laloon, who's dead. He died.
R.I.P. Vers.
Unfortunately, he became the next George Floyd.
How funny would it be if he actually was dead?
Yeah, right.
Like this episode drops, and then like we find out he's actually dead.
Rest in power. Rest in power.
Yeah.
He better be having the worst time of his life right now, and better not be asleep.
Because of you?
Yeah. What do you will or what?
No, that's it. There's no like or. I'm just like hoping that he's having a horrible time right now. And that's his excuse.
Like James's daughter, like in the future, gets raped by a guy, and then James is like talking to the guy who raped his daughter. He's like, "Listen, pal, I better never see you around these parts ever again." All right, you have a good day now. You need a ride home, pal?
I hope the pussy was tight enough.
Actually, though, the funny thing is, Arsene, that actually is probably the best way to respond, and also it's probably the best way to respond and the most frightening.
It's to offer your daughter's rapist on ride home.
Yeah, rape the other cheek too.
Well, what's that? What was that? Whitey Bulger. It's Whitey Bulger, right?
Looks like it's Black Mass.
Black Mass.
So
in Black Mass, there's a scene when like somebody like really messes up. And Johnny's just says like, do I look like I'm having a problem? He's like, do I look like I'm worried? Do I look like I'm upset? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he was upset.
Very, very woman answer. Oh, I'm not upset. Like, I'm fine.
I imagine that's sort of like the reaction you could have.
So your daughter's being raped, and you have the reaction of, "I'm not upset. I'm fine."
Yeah, your reaction is to be an angry wife whose husband didn't take the garbage out.
To have would be like very, very mundane and friendly. Would actually probably be the best way.
Why don't you fuck my ass too, pal? You're allowed to murder like child molesters and rapists in like Texas, like multiple times when like people go to trial for that shit, for like killing somebody who like molested their kid or whatever. They just get off. They're like, yeah, no jury will fucking convict you of that in Texas.
So what if you like
might traumatize your kids more? I don't like this entire conversation, but
so what if you like say like someone molests a child in New York. Yeah. And you kidnap them and then
bring them to
Texas and then kill them.
Yeah.
Like how does that work then?
Yeah.
like do you do like the kidnapping charges in New York and then like the murder charges in Texas?
Yeah, the Longhorn murderer.
Yeah. Yeah.
You buy yourself a little 18-wheeler, just fucking go, you just stack it with fucking rapists and drive them all to Texas. Get pulled over on the highway. It's like, nah, don't worry, man. Here's my fucking manifest. Everything's good to go. We're just, just a little long haul OTR over to fucking Austin.
Vigilante who kidnaps.
Just driving his truck over to the electric chair factory.
I feel like that'd be a funny skit. It's like, officer, I'm sorry, I'm kidnapping another rapist right now, and I'm just on my way to Texas. And he's like, oh, all right, well, as long as you don't murder him here and you murder him in Texas, it's all good.
Yeah.
So that's what Verse is doing. He's kidnapping some rapists.
He's been kidnapped because he foot raped somebody, so he's been kidnapped by the Longhorn killer. He's being he's already in Texas,
that's what I was about to say. He's already in Texas. So
he's getting murdered right now.
Yeah.
For sucking the wrong the wrong wife's fucking toes.
I didn't know Mel Gibson was the voice of John Smith in the Disney Pocahontas.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say I didn't know he was the voice of reason, but
that tracks.
Well,
I think that tracks.
So if that was a true story, did John Smith statutory rape Pocahontas, and then Pocahontas had to basically be like, hey, don't murder Mel Gibson?
I don't want to be one of those technically guys, but like I don't think they had statutory rape laws at that time.
Is if the person that was violated is saying like, have mercy on this person, like I like this person, right?
I don't think even the concept of statutory rape existed at that time.
Well, what if because now I feel like
I don't want to be one of the, like I'm not here to like condone ephebophilia, but like I mean,
well, if we have like if we just think in terms of like future American poets and Nobel laureates. I imagine there'll be all sorts of metaphors for rape in the future.
Yeah. Can you imagine how bad writing and art would be if like dudes weren't allowed to fuck like teenage girls back in the day?
Imagine, well,
like it's just sharp decline in art because a guy couldn't like get head from a fucking like 12-year-old.
Yo, hacking people. I actually believe this. Hacking people and invading their privacy should be considered with the same like emotions and logic as rape.
That's a I mean, no. What the fuck?
110.
It's the same. It is not the same thing as getting like railed in the ass against your will. What the fuck, man?
The thing is,
and there are, and to be clear, there already are laws
Did you
against.
see what happened to Chris Chan? Did you see what happened to Chris Chan? Or like what
he
happened?
Raped his mom. That nigga raped his mom, dude. What the fuck are you talking about?
After years of being treated like a circus attraction,
he became one.
No better.
Step
Right?
right
Yo,
up.
there
Step
was
right
some
up.
e-girl. No. There was some e-girl who like groomed him into that though. I don't know if you guys read the thread on Kiwi Farms. He's not a mentally like well individual, but there's this terrible e-girl who has like a history. She has a history of basically finding people like Chris Chan, people who are let's be honest, retarded.
Vulnerable and unstable.
Yeah, vulnerable, and then like doing this kind of like BPD relief, like, you know, internet relationship, like she's going to be their girlfriend online, and increasingly baiting them into more and more deranged actions. Now, and I'm not saying Chris Chan is innocent; he should be put down. But you got to like read the story of this e-girl. She's like the devil, man.
Now, did she groom him into fucking his own mom? That's what I want to know.
Literally, she like told
Really?
him to do that and egged him on like through messages.
Get the
and
fuck
through,
out of
like,
here!
DMs.
Oh
I
my
swear
god!
to God, Kiwi Farms. It's all on Kiwi Farms.
Do you think this is gonna
about
be?
it.
Do you think this is gonna be in the trial?
Oh yeah. There's like, how would it not
And
be a
hopes.
trial?
Trial of the century.
So we're running a contest on the channel. If you can guess who Zero HP Lovecraft is, if you can guess his doc, if you post his blue check mark Twitter account in the comments below, and if you get it right, you'll get a fucking blast to the head.
If we
Elon
wanted
Musk.
to, it would be easy to figure it out, but we would have to start doing some digital rape. We would have to start doing some digital rape.
You're Elon Musk, is that right?
Obviously.
Yeah.
Obviously. No, I wish I were that cool. Wouldn't that be interesting? I'm really no one at all. This is what I've told everyone.
It would be funny if Zero was like one of like he is a checkmark account, but he's one of those like 400 follower like like some dog shit like journal publication for like trans dogs or something.
Bro, you're not supposed to give them any clues.
Zero's just had it in his head this whole time. He's just been like a paranoid schizophrenic. He's like, if
For
people
no
know my
reason.
if people know my docs, I'm gonna get fired from my job. I'm gonna be fucking exiled from this whole industry. That's literally it. It's just for
Literally never write another article about a trans dog ever again.
I'll tell you what my read is on Zero HP Lovecraft, and so I'm gonna have a lot of holes in this, but basically I think Zero HP Lovecraft is part of an underground community that includes a geo.
He's literally just reading the FBI docket that he put. Look at his eyes, like looking. He just pulled up your docket, dude.
No, I think sometimes when like people like start shit with me, like in the beginning, like I'll see it as like, oh, this is like part of their friendship ritual. Very easy to get things on a pro-social feedback loop, and then people overthink it.
Are you like ghostwriting the sequel to how to win friends and gain influence or something?
Yeah, the opposite of how to lose a guy in 10 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How to have sex with 10 guys in one day.
I am working on
the
that.
gay porno remake.
Yeah.
It's so funny. You guys, I feel like you guys are like, it's so funny. It's so funny how much more gay you guys are than me. Like I've literally, like, It's actually hilarious. And I feel like a disappointment to you guys. It would be so much easier if I was.
It wasn't a dig at you. It was just
No,
I was
also,
just
like,
doing it. I made a funny book
I'm an
title.
attractive guy. If I start signaling a certain way, I'm a beacon. Like I'm a magnet to all sorts of stuff. I repel what I don't want, and I attract what I want. And it's a very effective sieve.
I'm in a weird conflict where I wanna either keep egging you on this or just like clarifying that like nobody was calling you gay. It was just that the opposite of how to lose a guy in 10 days would be how to fuck 10 guys in a day. You were really looking way too deep into this.
Jules is like trying to find out like the psychological reason behind like us making gay jokes.
Yeah. I mean, like really, it wasn't even about you, dude.
I just want to say, Verse is alive and he's coming.
Thank God. We thought he was George too.
Yeah.
I've been worried sick.
Dude, so it's fucking weird. The AI with YouTube is fucking awful. I got the first warning on the account for a video that I uploaded called, I simply titled it Being a Racist, and it was just raw, unedited footage of the video I just released, which was what it's like going through TSA when you're brown. And I think what flagged it was probably like the fucking the jokes in it, like the SWAT jokes and shit like that, and anything mentioning about the great event.
Yeah,
like a big no.
The Happening. Let's call it The Happening.
Oh yeah. No, we don't joke about that, man. That's not something you can do.
Yeah.
You can't talk about The Happening in any way. And it was like it was like really the most like it like almost makes me think I'm like there's no way it could have been anything else in the video. Like it had to be like the Happening joke that I made.
Yeah.
Did you have like SWAT or anything like that? Because a lot of the time they'll ban just for the image. The AI will scan and look for the image.
No, we didn't have any of that footage, like any of that at all. It was just saying the word.
Yeah, that must have been it.
So it was saying the word. I guess
the H slur.
No, not SWAT.
Oh,
yeah.
So this is gonna have to get out.
Yeah. So all this is like
probably.
Yeah, all this is gonna be like out. Obviously, you know of The Happening event with the large numbers.
Yeah.
I mean, am I allowed to say the numbers are too big? Am I allowed to say I think they're
it's kind of like that it's kind of like that Trevor Noah skit where he's just like it's like you're not allowed to say I want to the president, but you are allowed to say with a grenade launcher, because that's its own separate statement, right? It has nothing to do with the
Wait, no, you said
Trevor.
You said Trevor Noah. You meant Trevor Moore.
Oh yeah.
I was like, because I knew the skit. Before you said the skit, I was about to be like, you know how I know you're gay? You're referencing a Trevor Noah skit.
I didn't put that together. I did think it was odd to be Trevor Noah.
I knew the specific skit you were talking about, so I'm like, oh yeah, you mean Trevor Moore?
Yeah, that did.
Trevor Moore is amazing.
Yeah, he's like what I like aim to be. Like Otto has said this too, where he's like the end goal of MK Ultra money should be like a modernized version of Whitest Kids You Know.
Yeah,
which I would love to like for it to become that.
Bears, we missed you.
Yeah.
Dude, what happened?
I got belligerently drunk, and then I didn't plug my phone in. And so
classic.
I woke up when I woke up.
Yeah,
which was like 5 minutes ago.
We figured that either you were too drunk and that was the case, or you were George too. So
George? I don't like these jokes. I don't like.
Did I miss George?
George Floyd.
George Floyd. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Jorge Floydones.
It's very possible that I could have got Floyded. That's true.
Yeah. I mean, you are in Texas.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's very valid.
Yeah.
I feel like there can be some shamanic wisdom to invoking
getting George Floyd.
What
are you talking about?
Like,
yeah, if you cut off blood circulation to your brain, you start hallucinating a little bit.
True.
You start seeing Derek Chauvin.
Sometimes I wonder if we are like summoning an
Derek Chauvin.
negativity when we could just be at this point, like, it's like we won, right? At some point, I'm like, are we like missing the opportunity to take the win? Do you know what I mean? Like,
Jules wants us to only make positive jokes on this podcast. Like anytime we make anything that's like dark, he's like
I feel like we've kind of demonstrated that we can say whatever we want. We can do what we want.
No, we can't say whatever we want.
Yeah, this is what we were just talking about.
We quite literally cannot talk about the great happening.
Yeah, there's
you have to demonstrate how. You just have to demonstrate how.
Well, all right, he's right. I actually think it was 10 million.
Well, why do you think
the numbers are too low? Actually,
why stop at 10?
What do you think? Why do you think the numbers would be inflated if they were inflated?
Why?
Okay, listen, we don't actually need to talk about this.
Actually want me to do, like, I mean, we can do this.
Totally
We can do this right now.
This could be a moment of brilliance right now.
Listen, no. The point of this. Listen, we're gonna cut the brakes on this one.
It was 6 million.
I think it was exactly as reported.
It was exactly 6 million, and the doors were not made of wood.
Yeah.
It's not a problem.
Jules speed running, getting the channel terminated.
No way.
And frankly,
no. The point was,
and it was not concocted for the sake of mythology.
Yeah, the point of this was to demonstrate like how hard we have to dance around saying certain. We don't actually need to get into the subject matter of what we're talking about.
This is what I think. This
Information is very surface level. We don't need to get further into it. Man.
This is what I think. I think if the numbers were, hold on. I think I think if the numbers were intentionally inflated, it's more likely they were inflated by Irish people or non-Jews.
Oh, okay.
All right, let's go.
Yeah, sure.
Scapegoat them so that when people then have this moment where they start to think, wait a second, were these numbers inflated? It must be because they're lying to us, when really it was people planning to scapegoat them, trying to make them look felicitous on a historical event when they weren't the ones that seeded the misinformation.
So you're saying that the Gentile inflated the numbers in order to scapegoat the Jews further?
Plan a black.
Is that what your claim is?
There are a lot of dimensions to this chess game right now.
So the goy not only murdered the Jew, but they inflated the numbers to further persecute the Jew after the.
This is, I mean, is that what you're every day I hear a new take on the happening. Every single day, there's a brand new take.
I'm saying
we're talking about The Happening, the M. Night Shyamalan film, for anyone that hasn't realized it by now.
I'm saying if the numbers are inflated, it's not because
there's no way it made that much at the box office. Like, come on.
Yeah, there it is.
If the numbers are inflated, it's not because like the Jewish community,
the Indian community.
M. Night Shyamalan just couldn't handle having a flop.
Yes, Mark Wahlberg exaggerated the box office numbers so that M. Night Shyamalan could get more sympathy. That's what we're talking about.
This is why we want, the pollen. It was the pollen the whole time. I'm gonna ruin that.
The pollen
bee for pollinating.
It'd be inflated to cause a predictable conflict that you can foresee and avoid.
Yeah, you can't avoid all that pollen. It's invisible and it's everywhere.
You could just say it's a moot point. Like it actually doesn't matter.
I already said it was a moot point.
Yeah, that was it. That's how we started.
My whole point was that it's a moot point to debate it.
It don't matter to us that much. It matters to some people quite a lot, man.
There's no aha moment from like if there's a revelation where maybe the numbers were like twice as less.
Like 600 or 6 million. Either way, it's terrible, man.
One life is too many.
What?
Right.
Shouldn't have been, not one life could be lost.
600 or 6 million.
The stated numbers are $163.4 million at the box office when the budget was only $48 to $60 million.
Yeah. So one of the things you have to understand is the number of moviegoers they're saying were present for this film if you look at some of the census data in and around Europe and some of these European countries where they're saying they had this many viewers, there just aren't that many people.
So let's say like
there's no way
at that time. It just doesn't add up.
So like the amount of people.
No, I got this. There's not enough theaters for that many people to watch this.
No, so not only are there not enough theaters, there's not enough people to go to those theaters.
Like, are you gonna really tell me that people rewatch The Happening this many times?
Are you really gonna tell me that somebody started a fire in the theater and they couldn't just push the emergency doors open?
So you're telling me that, like, you know, so let's say there's 50 people to a theater and 2 hours per movie.
How many times could we watch the movie in 4 years, really?
You know, there's actually a crazy fan theory about the movie The Happening where Mark Wahlberg's daughter and it just never existed.
No, dude, that's real though. Like
that character just never existed in the film. It was all in his head all along, and like deceived everyone around him that his daughter existed in the film.
Yeah, his daughter's diary was like a deleted scene or something.
Yeah.
The director's cut. You know, he's never made it to.
I really just love M. Night Shyamalan movies. I mean, that other movie, The 6 Millionth Sense.
Oh man.
So can we talk about Nasim Aghdam?
Who's this?
This is my favorite active shooter ever.
Yeah.
Why? Why is that the transition?
They need to. Do you think
let's take the win?
Do you think they'll have like fucking?
No, because this is a woman who you know, she famously
the
went to a YouTube. She went to YouTube. I've been really fascinated.
Which
with
I just don't approve of at all. Like I just like
no,
I completely.
No, it's not right. It's not
I
right.
disavow her. She's like really evil.
Disavow.
You think in like 5 years they'll have, you know how they have like baseball like collector's cards, they'll have like a fucking like Eric Harris rookie card. Like they'll have,
no, but actually I find these shooters utterly fascinating. Like, I mean, it's terrible what they do, right? Violence. I do not endorse violence, okay? But they're such fascinating characters, every single one of them. If you read the story, whether you look at like the Virginia Tech guy or like Farouk and Talik.
He was like the OG incel. Like the VTech guy was the OG. Like he invented
Elliot Rodger too. I mean, have you seen the videos of Elliot Rodger? Like, he goes on his shooting spree, then he stops and like films himself going to Starbucks and getting like a venti frappuccino. Like, just so nonchalant. He just like drinks the venti frappuccino. He's like, "This is my day." He drinks the coffee and then he goes back and he shoots some more people. It's terrible, right? It's terrible.
He was definitely gay. Like, out of all the shooters, Elliot Rodger was definitely
just like
a homosexual man.
Stories.
They're honestly in denial about it.
There's so much humanity in these stories. I think there's so much life. Like I find them fascinating. So I've been working on a new story all about Nasim Aghdam because she's just such a fascinating character to me. She was a vegan. She was an animal rights activist. And you know, in 2016, 2017, you know about the YouTube, they call it the adpocalypse. They like demonetized all these channels.
Yeah.
That's what we're trying to avoid happening here.
Are we monetized at all?
We actually just got monetized.
No shit, man. I expect a check in the mail.
Yeah.
You got monetized and you immediately started talking about The Happening.
Classic, James.
Yeah.
But
it's over, bro.
But no, so she got demonetized. She had an ab workout video where she was like doing, you know, like crunches or whatever in a yoga shorts.
Wait,
they demonetized it. It's been taken down, but you might be able to find it with some sleuthing. But it wasn't like that race. They marked it as adult content and they demonetized her for it. And she didn't know that YouTube had like demonetized everyone. She thought they were like specifically targeting her and her friends who were all like vegan fitness instructors or something.
So was she
that.
like a little too racy with the titty tubing?
She really even wasn't. That's the thing. Like, you can see the clips. Like, she was wearing spandex, but I've seen like way raunchier stuff on TikTok.
She had a spandex hijab.
No. So she actually wasn't a practicing Muslim, as far as I can tell. She was raised Muslim, but she had become like very deep into like the vegan scene.
The California religion.
Yeah, California.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, she thought they were just targeting her, and that's why she went to YouTube and did what she did.
It's always interesting, like which of these like shooters are like actually real shooters, and then like which ones are just like MK Ultra'd and shit like that. Whereas like she's definitely a case where it's like it's all her.
Yeah,
which is kind of impressive if you think about it.
It's just like that's like all like that's like pushing a person too far. Like that's
well, it's also like that's you know the delusional people that think they're being like gang stalked. Like that's a variant of that, as being like, oh, only my channel is being singled out and targeted by YouTube. I'm gonna go fucking you know, I'm gonna go do some just to avoid demonetization.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go do some redacted stuff in their office.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a game of chicken. I mean, I think there's a lot of people out there like Chris Chan, frankly, who are just unwell. They're not right in the head. And they could be pushed into doing something crazy, like going to YouTube's headquarters in San Bruno
and using the secret entrance on the west wing of the building. You can get in there.
I mean, like
but and my point is they could meet Ron L. Hubbard and
L. Ron.
Maybe. I mean,
like that's what I'm saying is like. I think giving up on people is a much more active force than it is.
It requires trains and camps.
The thing is, though, it does, and you could spend your whole life trying to save one person, and some people can be saved and some can't. You know, like I've had friends who I put like a ton of effort and time. It's like if people don't want to change, if they don't want to improve, and sometimes they can't. For reasons that you just can't control at all.
Though. Like
some people don't want to be saved either.
You can be.
That's right. There are people who don't want to be saved.
There's no one size fits all solution to anyone.
No, there isn't.
Well, there is, and it's on a train.
Yes, that worked really well.
No, in a movie
theater. It worked pretty well.
Movie theater.
The box office sales are pretty high, so I think that was kind of effective, and the numbers were not inflated whatsoever. Joel's like, I've had
enough. Look, man, he opened up the can of worms. You did open up. We didn't have to go that deep.
So who else do you think actually was a real serial killer or like shooter and wasn't?
John Wayne Gacy was absolutely a real serial killer.
I think
nobody who looks like that doesn't have didn't enjoy doing that shit. Like
so a serial killer is different, right? Like a serial killer is very different from an active shooter.
Okay,
killers, there basically are no serial killers anymore.
Yeah. Well, actually,
it's impossible to do that shit nowadays.
It's really it's impossible because the CIA is just not doing it the same way anymore. I actually just I'm reading a book for the first time in my life. Programmed to Kill: The Politics of Serial Murders.
This dude's on page 1. I see where that book.
Yeah.
I'm reading a book.
Yeah. I just started it. Like I literally just got it the other day.
This fucking LeBron James ass motherfucker.
But like one of my close best friends recommended it to me, and he told me it's pretty much about how like none of like the serial killers were real for the most part, and they were like literally all just MK Ultra, and that nowadays instead of serial killers, this came out in 2004 for reference, by the way, but pretty much like nowadays there's no serial killers anymore because it's just active shooters instead. Like the CIA just changed their operations for their tactics for I don't know if I can say the FF word about flags.
Yeah.
Yes.
You got to make a distant threat of like danger in order to create stability. It's like
But here's the thing though. This is my take on the Final Fantasies. Right?
Final Fantasies.
Very good.
That's great. That's so good. That is perfect.
My take on Final Fantasies is that like they haven't, they keep saying there's, the real conspiracy heads out there keep calling everything a Final Fantasy, but like they haven't accomplished jack shit in like what they actually seek out to accomplish. So like, am I saying that like not a single one of these is a Final Fantasy? Absolutely not. But
I don't understand this at all.
Exactly. It's an FF, a Final Fantasy. I don't think a lot of these fantastical people or plants, because it just I don't understand the productivity behind it, right? And I'm fully like aware of the conspiracy, like the conspiracy theory, but it's just like it seems wild to the same extent that like a serial killer seems wildly counterproductive to me as a plant, as a Final Fantasy. A shooter also seems incredibly counterproductive as a Final Fantasy.
You know, it's funny because the going back to like the motives of these Final Fantasy games is you know, it's not just gun control though, but like simply like demoralization. Like it's actually the antithesis of Jules, which is why it upsets him so much, because Jules is specifically the antithesis to Final Fantasy games.
Wow.
Where Jules is like always wants to make everything as positive as possible and make everyone as happy and like bring everyone up. Like these Final Fantasy games, like the whole point is to demoralize like the world. It's like demoralize the US, like demoralize people and bring their spirits down.
But now no. We're talking about Final Fantasy.
Yeah. Well, I love Final Fantasy.
Outside of like chat rooms and comment sections and shit like that, where people really are like very crushed and paranoid and sad and scared about Final Fantasies, in real life, does anyone actually give a fuck? Because I have like I will read about it and be like, yeah, it happens, whatever, and then just move on with my I just don't give a fuck. I'm whatever, dude.
Libtards are actively concerned.
Well, listen, guys, I gotta run. It's been a real pleasure.
Thank you for coming, Zero.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, and I'll just, you're never going to solve all the world's problem, Jules, but I personally prefer to laugh about them, even the things that are hard to laugh about. I think, you can either laugh about the world or cry about it, and I like to laugh.
So true.
Thanks, guys. It's been great chatting with you.
Thanks for coming on, Zero. Make sure to watch this other episode featuring Donovan. Thanks.